Hello, so we're here in this Crystals and Chakras series where you find soul healing if needed, consciousness expansion, and the joy of life. And today we're going to talk about blue quartz. And I absolutely love this crystal. You'll understand why throughout the video. So this is a quartz variation. It's one of the types of quartz, right? And being blue, it aligns the throat chakra because it belongs to the trigonal system. It's a type of quartz. It also aligns the crown chakra. But we want to focus on the color and the connection with the throat chakra today. And the general attribute of blue quartz is calm communication. This is very, very powerful. It's not just communication, it's also the energy of being calm. And being calm includes communicating to other people, but also how you communicate with yourself, because our inner dialogue can sometimes be so intense. We can give ourselves such a hard time with our monologues, right? Our silent internal monologues. Not silent at all. It's very noisy actually for most of us. So blue quartz really helps with calming down your inner dialogue or your monologue, and it also inspires you to communicate your truth in a very calm way and assertive. It's beautiful. The feeling of security and groundedness and safety, and knowing that you're in the right direction, because it does connect the throat chakra to the crown. So it's very much about being inspired by your higher self when you speak and when you relate to other people, when you communicate with other people, when you interact with others. So the general attribute of the stone is calm communication. And when it comes to the emotional level, the emotional benefits that you get from blue quartz, because the throat chakra is the center of truth in our bodies, right? It is also the center of communication, self-expression, which is kind of the same thing, creativity, and authenticity, which is very much about the truth. So to me, this is my take on it, this is my opinion, it's how we fully express our individuality, our divine individual energy. Because all the other chakras are not completely individual. They have other energies in them. But the throat chakra is the master center of individuality, in my opinion. So all blue crystals, right, and all the crystals that align the throat chakra have this attribute for you to know yourself. Know thyself, as Socrates would say, and to be very connected to your individual truth and to be authentic in the world. So the throat chakra gets thrown off, gets imbalanced by the energy of lies, okay? And I'm not saying that people who have an imbalanced throat chakra are liars. Sometimes we lie to ourselves without realizing it. Sometimes we live a fake life for various reasons, including love and the self-sacrifice vibration of loving others more than self. So all chakras are very connected, and they have very specific energy centers that express themselves in different ways. But they are all connected, as I said, right? They all kind of rely on each other to be balanced. So if there is some blockage in one chakra, it is going to affect other chakras, because the flow between them is not going to be aligned. It's not going to be even happening sometimes. So the lies that we tell ourselves imbalance the throat chakra. The lies we tell others imbalance the throat chakra. Living a double life is really terrible for the throat chakra. It doesn't like it when we have too many versions of ourselves. Sometimes with a specific group of people, you act one way. With another group of people, you act another way. You know, I even remember when in my childhood, I would get very anxious about, I had two sets of cousins, right? Because my father's family has a type of vibration personality. My mother's family has another. So in my father's family, I would be more of a leader and I would be very assertive. But in my mother's family, I felt very intimidated and I was, more submissive. Now I come to understand it has to do with the fact that in my father's family, most of my cousins were my age and my generation. And in my mom's family, because it's really huge, a lot of people my age were actually in my mother's generation because my grandma had children. She started having children at age 16 and stopped having children at age 42. So sometimes the nephew would be older than the uncle in my maternal family. But that's a whole other story. That has to do with family constellations. What I want to tell you about right now, and really I want you to focus on your connection with your truth and your throat chakra, is that lies are not very obvious sometimes. Okay, so at the throat chakra as a divine chakra it's a very sophisticated, subtle center of energy in your body. So it's not that things are not black and white when it comes to the divine chakras, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. So imbalancing the throat chakra happens when we lie to ourselves, when we lie to other people, and the extremes are wearing masks to please others, so you're completely inauthentic, right? You're not honoring your truth. You're living in order to please or not to upset other people, maybe your parents, maybe a significant other, maybe even your children, who knows, okay? On the other end of the spectrum, it has to do with hiding, okay? So instead of communicating distorted energy to others to please other people, the people who have imbalance here in the throat chakra don't communicate at all. They just hide. They do not express the truth of who they are. They hide their talents. They hide their preferences. They hide their opinions. They're just shut down and they don't communicate. So the problem is to communicate what is not true or to not communicate at all. What you want is a balance here in which you communicate your truth, your creativity, your authenticity, and allow people to see your unique self. Okay? So the emotional benefit that you get from blue quartz is calm communication of your truth. Okay, you will not tolerate your people-pleasing behavior, and you will feel stimulated to get out of your shell, stop hiding, and start expressing yourself in a natural, healthy way. Okay, when it comes to the mental benefits, because it's a calming stone, it's so simple. I love blue quartz because it's just so straightforward and so deep. It's one of the most shamanic stones in the cardinal method, in the method I developed for soul healing and consciousness expansion. And it just encourages a calm mind. Your mind is not going all over the place. It's a great stone to aid anxiety. So remember I said the inner dialogue that sometimes can be so depleting. You will feel calm in your mind and you will feel like everything is okay and only what is true remains in your mind. So it's a purifier in every sense, especially on the physical level. A lot of crystal experts will say that blue quartz really helps purify the bloodstream, because if your mind creates your reality, right? The external material world is a manifestation of the subtle world, the energetic world, and your thoughts create your reality. So if you have a calm mind, you're going to have a calm physical body. And your blood, the energy of being calm is yin, right? It can be, this stillness that brings such peace. And you will not be emanating toxic thoughts to your bloodstream. So it makes all the sense in the world that blue quartz creates this physical benefit in the bloodstream for the ones who have researched this. And another beautiful, powerful attribute, as I always say, what is the spiritual vibration of the stone? That once you tap into the spiritual attribute, it all emanates to the mental, to the emotional, and to the physical aspects of your life. The spiritual benefit of blue quartz is for you to connect to your spiritual self and to your higher self in a very calm way. This is good for people who are afraid of spirituality and for people who glamorize spirituality, which is also kind of a fantasy, an illusion. Anything that's exaggerated is a distortion, right? So this is a very grounding stone that it helps a lot with growing up as well, because in our culture, we don't have rites of passage. We don't have rituals as women and men and any kind of, gender really, to know thyself, right? There's a spectrum of identities right now. And we don't have rites of passage, and we're not stimulated to know ourselves as we should. So with blue quartz, you connect to your spiritual truth. It's calm communication with your higher self and allowing your higher self to speak through you whenever you address others and when you're talking to yourself in your inner monologue or dialogue, whatever you want to call it. So calm communication with your higher self is a spiritual connection, is a spiritual benefit from this stone. And that's why I feel that this crystal is very shamanic, because shamans are the ones who tap into the soul and help heal the soul, right? Shamans are different from curanderos or healers because they go to the soul level to see the root cause of the problem. And not everyone is trained for that kind of work, spiritual work, soul retrievals, and many others. So blue quartz really brings that power, really, that inner power within you, awakens it so that you can be your own shaman. You can be your own rescuer when you connect to your higher self. Because as I always say, your higher self has all the answers, right? You have some people outside of you who can be guides for your life, but ultimately, you and your higher self are the ones who have all the answers and all the tools to create a beautiful life. Okay? One other curious thing about blue quartz is that it likes to travel. I say that all crystals like to travel. Literally, they're rolling stones. So we should not be attached to crystals at all. If they want to go somewhere, they will go. You don't choose them, they choose you. Sometimes you need to buy them. Sometimes you need to give them as a gift. Sometimes you need to receive them as gifts. It really is up to the crystal, not up to you, how the crystal connects to you and how the crystal comes into your life. It's just a beautiful relationship that you can develop with stones, knowing that they like to travel. And in my experience, blue quartz is by far one of the crystals that most likes to travel. I don't have a lot of specimens because most of them I tend to give away or to sell. And the most beautiful blue quartz I ever laid eyes on and touched, I gave it away as a gift. It needed to go to some other person. So I could not allow myself to be attached to it. And they sometimes may vanish. They may be gone for a long time and then you find them 3 years later or a week later. It just means they need some time out, because if we overdo it, if we kind of, get too attached to them, they will find a way to balance the energy by, not being seen or you forgetting about them or something like that. So when it comes to the practice, right, how do you use blue quartz? How can the blue quartz stone benefit your life in a practical way? The first practice that I suggest is for you to have a blue quartz that's about 2 inches, like this one, and to place it on your throat, exactly where your throat chakra resides. Some people, there's this little indentation here, that you can place it here as well. You will feel intuitively where the stone wants to go. So mine sometimes wants to be here in this little indentation, but right now I want to place it right here where your throat is, to inspire calm, assertive, peaceful communication, right? It's a great stone to create peace, to communicate with others in a peaceful way. And remember, peace includes conflict. Peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is to face diversity, to face plurality, and to be able to deal with conflict in a peaceful way not in an aggressive or destructive or violent way. That's that is seriously one of the biggest challenges of humanity as we evolve as a species, right? Not to not need war anymore, to not need violence, and all of that. So you want to place blue quartz on your throat. You can either hold it here for 1 to 3 minutes. Because it's a calming stone, you need at least 1 minute with it here. You'll intuitively feel when you want to hold it, for how long you want to hold it. It doesn't have to be longer than 3 minutes. If you want to do this lying down, it can be a little tricky depending on the shape of your blue quartz, but it works as well. 1 to 3 minutes, just taking some time out, just giving pauses between activities. It's a very powerful way to recharge your energy and to connect to this calm communication from the higher self. All right. Another way to benefit from blue quartz is to wear 2 bracelets, 1 in each hand, because the left side is the feminine side. It's the soul side, right? It's the internal yin side in the systems that I choose to follow. And the right side is the external, the yang, the communication, where the future, so the past is in the left, the future is in the right, the present moment is in the middle, which is the only reality there is anyway. But we do have the concept of time as human beings, so we deal with it. So I suggest you wear 1 on the left wrist and 1 on the right wrist for calm communication with self and calm communication with others. Especially when you're out in the world doing your thing, working, dealing with other people, suggest you wear 2. And even if you're by yourself and you just want to do the calm communication with self part, we are our relationships, right? So our thoughts and our souls are populated with other people because in the end we're all one. No one is isolated in the world. So I do suggest having a set of 2 blue quartz bracelets to wear 1 in each wrist when you need to balance and connect in that level. And last but not least, the third practice is to have a blue quartz bracelet and a blue quartz stone. Doesn't have to be too large. It has to be smaller than and kind of proportional to the bracelet. Okay, so place it here. You don't want to get this huge. You can do this here, but it's a little bit out of proportion, and here as well. So surface is very important. The size of the stone is important for crystal practices in the Carnal method and the method I developed. So this is what I suggest you do. Get a bracelet and a blue quartz stone and place it there. Blue quartz bracelet, blue quartz stone. And it can stay wherever you want as a little sculpture. Right? This is creating sacred space for your individuality. This is creating consciousness of your individual, unique self. It doesn't have to be on your body. This is a sculpture you're creating. It's you looking at your individuality and knowing that at least 1/7 of you, because we have 7 chakras, but 1/7 of you is individual, unique. It is you. It's where you can allow yourself to be who you are and assert your individuality in divine proportion. Because people who are too much into the self, individuality and all that can become egotistical, can become unaware of others, have no boundaries when it comes to others. So this is representing a healthy boundary. The bracelet represents a healthy boundary. The stone represents your individuality. So really, this is a sculpture for divine proportion, okay, in your life. So it reminds you of calm communication with self, of asserting your individuality, communicating to others when you're feeling invaded, communicating to others what you feel should happen. It's proactive and it's also assertive, not reactive, right? But responsive. And it really just balances everything related to communicating your truth and to connect to your higher self and to connect to who you are as you communicate it to the world. Okay? So this is what I wanted to share with you today. I hope it was useful and that it makes you happy and brings you joy. If you have any questions, please type them here under this video. and comment your experience. Let's share what this means to all of us as we grow together as a community. If you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do that, and I will see you soon.